Okay. Hi, I'm going to sit only because I had a hip surgery not too long ago. But I'm doing good. Very little pain, so I'm lazy. No. Um, my name's Phyllis, and I've been doing ghost hunting for a long time. Has anybody ever tried ghost hunting? No? Does it scare you? No, it doesn't scare you. Or does it look like it's phony? I don't watch the shows because I was actually on the TV show Haunted Hospitals, and they took my stories and really butchered them to make them worse than they really were, even though I did have all those experiences while working in a hospital. So it kind of ruined it for me watching any TV show. So a lot of times when I ask people if they want to ghost hunt, the first thing they say is, oh no, they're terrified. Well, that's because most TV shows and movies make everything demonic. I'd say 99% of it is a ghost. They're not demonic. There is some evil stuff, but it's not demons. It's usually people who are confused and have not crossed over into the light, or they want to stay behind to settle something that they make a right from a wrong. I've had some people who were nasty in life, but when they die, they become entirely different because they see the light now. But I've also had them where they stay evil and do a lot of mean things to people in their homes. My home is haunted, but I had it built. But I've had, one day I left my bedroom and I was watching TV, and when I came back I couldn't find the remote control anywhere, and they had shoved it in the pillowcase on my bed. Another time I set my jewelry down, and when I picked it up to put it away, I couldn't find an earring, and that night it was under my pillow in my bed again. They like to hide things in my pillows. So when I first started ghost hunting, I only did it as a scientific person. I didn't use any of my paranormal abilities. And most people didn't like that because they want every little sound, every little thing to happen to have to be a ghost. And one time we did a haunted train down in Fort Myers, and you're on a track and the train's, kind of rocky. And they had a broken table in a room with 3 legs, the 4th one was missing, leaning against the wall. So all of a sudden somebody lets out a scream. The table flew across the room and hit them. Well, no, it just fell over because the train was rocky. Then they get mad at me. And then when the air conditioning would go through the pipes and they'd hear the whooshing sound, oh my gosh, it's a ghost. It's like, no, that's air conditioning. So a lot of times people didn't like me going ghost hunting with them because they wanted all this excitement. A lot of ghost hunting is boring. It's a lot of times waiting. I have been able to channel ghosts where they speak through me. I've done that several times. I just did one out in Utah. I was out at the Phenomenon out there and the Skinwalker Ranch and all that, if you ever watched that show. So something happened out there with me. The Opera House in Arcadia, we had something happen. And then also we do a paranormal show way up in Tallahassee. And this one place we do it at is filled with spirits. And so a couple of them spoke through me. Now, some of the ghost hunting equipment, I'm sure you've heard of. This is a ghost box, and it picks up voices. And it works pretty good. But the thing is, if you've ever seen it on TV, they'll go, did you hear what they said? It's like, no. Well, they said, get out. And they play it back and like, no, get out? No, that's not what they said. But sometimes it's been clear as a bell. Now, out in Utah, this guy had one. He was standing next to me. And they kept telling the ghost to light up the EMF detector, like this one, and to make it flash, and nothing was happening. It just stayed green. And all of a sudden the spirit box next to me says, okay, I'll turn it on. And all of a sudden this thing just went crazy. So, goosebumps every time I talk about it. So you can pick up things. When we were doing a private home, this person, my sister's also a psychic, said his name was Raymond, and that he had been talking to her for quite a while. So I went in the back room where my daughter and the other people were using the spirit box, and I say, is Raymond here? And clears a bell. He says, it's Ray. It's like, oh, okay. Ray? So yeah, goosebumps again, right? So we have gotten some pretty good hits on people's voices coming through. Um, if you want to do any type of investigating, always pray to whoever you feel is your higher being. We do pray to Jesus to protect us and make sure that no spirits come home with us. And also, before we're done, we tell the spirits, thank you, but you can't come home. We also ask permission to take their pictures or talk to them. I did bring some pictures, but I guess, the room is kind of small to show them. Does anybody know what pareidolia is? It's a need for us to see a face in every kind of design that you see. So a lot of times in ghost hunting, you take a picture and you go, oh my gosh, I caught a ghost on camera. And then you look at it closer and you find out not so much. Now, this is one where I'll just stand up and fall over. No. I knew I was going to do that. I lost my leash. Okay. It's hard to see, but there's two faces in the cemetery. There's this one here and this one there. I always said that this one looked like George Washington and this looked like the black-eyed child. So we went back, and it turns out that George Washington was actually a angel statue. And then this we could never duplicate again. And that grave marker is now gone. So we don't, and there was a child's grave. Another one we did, I was up in Ocala, and I took some pictures. Where are you? And in the curtain, there's a being. Or is it just the lace? I have no way to prove it. It was taken around midnight in Ocala in a park. So it's like, try and analyze. Everybody who looks at it says, oh yeah, they see the face and everything. Orbs. Anybody have questions about orbs? People say, are they real? A lot of times, all the orbs you catch on camera are dust or bugs. We were at Annie Russell Theater up around Lakeland, and there was a seat that was Annie's seat. And the seat would always stay up. It's one of those kind that stay up unless you're sitting in it. So that goes down, then up and down. Well, this seat was down for some reason. And I took a picture of it because nobody was sitting in it, I thought. And then next thing you know, I look and the seat has popped up. And when I took the picture, there was actually an orb over the seat when all this was happening. So when I would go by and push the seat down, it would pop up. And when it was down, it just wouldn't stay whatever way you tried to move it. But there was an orb, so we feel that possibly Annie was still sitting there. I do a ghost tour in Punta Gorda, but it's more of a history tour. You don't really get to do ghost hunting, but we talk about all the history that happened down in Punta Gorda. One time when I was going on the tour before I decided to take it over, we were walking down this one street, and there was this big tree almost in the sidewalk, because they build around these trees. And my sister's going, whoa, I can't walk through there. And she could see a person hanging from the tree. And another person, they were going like this. And we go, what's wrong? She says, I feel like there's cobwebs all around me. So we talked to the tour guide about it, and they didn't know anything about it. But my sister actually saw someone who was hung in the tree, and the other person felt something. We went back a week later, and that tree was gone. So we don't know if they approached the homeowner and said something, or if it was just coincidence. I usually will take people to a cemetery, but you have to have permission to go there. You can't just show up because you're disturbing families' memories or whatever. And of course, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in cemeteries. There's a tool called Xbox Connects, and it's hooked up to an iPad, and it's the Xbox, and it picks up and turns things into stick figures. Well, there's a lot of controversy about it because I could point it at that chair and it'll look like a stick figure. So you have to analyze if something's moving or what's in the picture. So my daughter was down at the cemetery with her friends, and there's a grave down there that they get a lot of activity. They actually play cards. That's one thing we like to do. We bring a deck of cards and we ask them what card we have, and they usually will say over the spirit box what card it is. Well, all of a sudden she's looking and she goes like, what is that? And she saw a swirl through the camera. And then she thought, well, that's strange. Well, then it looked like a dog on all fours. and then it stood up, and it was a man or woman stick figure, and it walked across and walked over to the grave marker where the other person was standing. Unfortunately, they didn't film it because they were in such shock seeing it, they forgot to take a picture of what was on the screen. When I was doing this show up in Tallahassee, a young boy came through on the spirit box, and my daughter was in the background pointing this machine at it, and pointing at where I was lecturing, and just in front of the stage was a little boy stick figure. So they caught the little boy and him on the voice box. So it's really quite interesting. I was playing cards with one person one time, and I'd say, what card is this? And they were kids, so they might say lady for the queen, or the king was a man. And we're doing different cards. And I put down a 6, and I say, what card is that? And they go 3. And I said, look at it again, count. And they kept saying 3. And I think after the 4th try, I said, okay, let's do the next card. And when I put it down, it was a 3. So he saw the child saw the other card, so that was a lot of fun. Any questions yet on ghost hunting or a comment? No? Okay, some of the other equipment, like I said, this picks up electrical interference, and we usually tell the spirit, if you're here, make it light up. There is a code called the ghost code that my friend, he's a physicist in England, who it's supposed to, when you play it, causes a ghost to get angry and react. And I've played it, and the one time I played it, they threw a cigarette lighter at me, a monitor, and an antique wooden bowl because I didn't like it. And I would say, do you want me to turn it off? And as clear as a bell, the spirit box would go, yes. So we turn it off. So then later on, we were in another haunted building. It's in Sarasota, Crowley Nature Park. We got the skunk ape up there, and we had the haunted buildings up there. That's where we filmed our movie. They were trying to get somebody to talk and stuff, so I secretly was in the back saying, okay, I'm going to turn on this ghost code, and if you don't like it, I want you to light up this, and I'll turn it right off. So sure enough, the moment I turned it on, every single meter that was in that room was flashing like crazy. Everybody's going like, what's wrong, what's wrong? And so then I turned the ghost code off, and it stopped. Now, I was nowhere near the meters, because that can pick up your phone or something else, so it'll flash just by this thing. And so the thing is, again, even though you're using electronics, you have to make sure you're picking up on spirit and not this thing, not electrical in somebody's house. So you usually do a sweep in a home of all the electronics to see if this reacts. And if it doesn't, then when it does light up, okay, peace, no, then you know it's genuine. For novices, this is my first one I owned. I don't even have a battery in it anymore, but it was the same idea. The lights would be, it says safe, caution, and danger, but that was to pick up electrical spikes in your home. And then this is a temperature gauge. You can point it in certain areas, because they say a lot of times when they're trying to pull up energy, the area gets cold. When I was doing that one up in Tallahassee and I was doing the girl speaking through me, they had one of those pointed at me, and they said my whole body temperature was 65 degrees during that whole thing. And what they do is they put on goggles and a headset so you can't see or hear anything. And they ask questions, and I was able to respond to every question with an answer, not knowing anything of what they were asking me. Same thing out in Utah. I was doing that, and everybody's all gathered around, and all of a sudden they go, back up, and it's like, everybody found out later on that they're all like hovering, and when I yelled back up, they all backed up. But they asked different questions, and I answer. My pet peeve about asking questions is, doing the spirit box, what's your name? How old are you? How'd you die? Are you happy? Who do you want? How can we help? It's like, no. Is anyone here? Yes. Okay, now ask your next question. The problem is, you got a minute to think and get the energy to speak in the spirit box. Or you'll say, touch something, pull my hair. I've had that where somebody up front was saying, pull my hair, let us know you're there. And as I'm walking up the aisle to where they are, something yanks my hair. So they pulled hair, just the wrong person. You know, it's like, oh, they're over here, they're pulling my hair. I use dowsing rods a lot, and I can pick up on energy with dowsing rods. If you want to have fun, go to a cemetery with dowsing rods, find a headstone, turn your back to it, and ask questions. First of all, when you use your dowsing rod, you have to know which is yes and which is no. Mine crossed for no and open for yes. And you say things like, are you male? You wait to see yes or no. Did you die young? Yes or no. Any kind of question, yes and no answers. And then when you're done, turn around and read the gravestone and see if you picked up. Was it that person? Was it male? Was it female? You see, when they were born and when they died, you could kind of get an idea when, you know, how old they were. So it's a lot of fun and it's practice with your dowsing rods. And you can do that during the day and you won't be as suspicious as poking around at nighttime. So any questions before I... Oh.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Have you ever gone to the hotel in downtown Bradenton that's supposedly
No, I haven't been able to get up in this way. I've been to St. Augustine and Tallahassee and a few other places, but there's many more I want to do. I just haven't had I need to get connected with some people who can get me into these places. Yeah, we were going to do that for Casadega, but